are now plugged into Hooked on Sonics with Bruce and Tony Kong.
And here we go.
What up, everybody? Welcome to one more fantastic episode of Hooked on Sonics. I am one of your two co-hosts. I'm Bruce. Over there, getting hydrated, staying thirsty, the one, the only Tone Capone. We have a great show for you guys this week. We have industrial electronic icons KMFDM with their album Hell Yeah from 2017, and the Screaming Trees best-selling album that they ever had, Sweet Oblivion. Lots of music news, lots of drinks to go around. So, but before we can get into that, Tony, how are you?
Good evening. I am a great man. I am great. It's good to be here with everybody this evening. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening if you're tuning in listening. No, man, I'm doing pretty good. Aside from some tragedy that's struck the family here recently, we're doing all right. We're staying in here swinging, and we'll just keep it on trucking, man. That's what we do. That's the motto. Keep on trucking.
That's right.
So, with that being said, I think we're going to have a wonderful show this evening. I know that I got to review a pretty nice album this week. I'm looking forward to talking about it. I know I gave Bruce a pretty nice album. I hope he digged on it. So let's get into some stuff and find out what we've been into. Bruce, what you been listening to this week?
Well, I was chilled out a lot this week. I actually started listening to an audiobook that my buddy Mike Smith turned me on to, called Demon Copperhead, and it's a fictional story about this kid that grows up around this part of the country, so like southwestern Virginia. The story kind of bleeds into my neck of the woods, Knoxville, stuff like that. So some of the storyline that goes through right where I live is kind of cool.
Nice.
So been listening to that. Picked up on some Waylon Jennings that I haven't heard in a while, and I kind of missed that. Let's see. Started listening to a Yellow Wolf and Shooter Jennings album that they put out back last year. So, and of course the album that you gave me. So yeah, looking forward to it. What about you? What have you been listening to?
Well, as of today, I kind of showed some Brantley Gilbert stuff, and then we watched a Struggle Jennings video, and then some Tom McDonald stuff that ended up popping up and stuff and whatnot. These are all like really far right wing guys. I wouldn't say so much as far as like Brantley Gilbert or anything like that. I don't know what his situation is, but there was a lot of the right wingers kind of really gravitate towards those guys, but they're writing really good music. At the end of the day, I don't give a shit what their political stance is. It's you're writing good music. You're writing good music. Yep. With that being said, there's throughout the history of music, a lot of bands have gotten into the speaking on politics and stuff. Rage Against the Machine being one of them.
Mm-hmm.
They're very political. But I understand you guys. You have something to say on things, and that's your choice, and you have the right to do so. But I also think that at times when you side with certain things, you kind of alienate a whole nother audience, and I would just not choose to make that business move. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
I would rather teach, love everybody and respect everybody than, hey, screw these guys or whatever. That's, how do we help these guys? I love the awareness thing. Don't get me wrong, but
sure,
so.
You know who does a great job at that?
Who?
Dolly.
Yeah.
She has no political nothing.
No, she's a good ambassador. Yep. She's a very good ambassador.
Yep.
I was listening to some obviously some Ohm. What else? Oh, there's a band I got to give you. I got to give it to you at some point in time. A band called Stoner, and it's got a couple of the guys we've dealt with here recently. Josh Holm, I think, was involved, and the Queens of the Stone Age guys and whatnot. I was just listening to them again, man, and they put out like 2 albums, and I really kind of really dig their vibe, man. And I think if I shot one of those albums over to you at some point in time, which I'm going to do, I think you'd really latch onto that and be like, yeah, you know what I mean? Because both albums were really, really cool, really, really fun, really good albums. Other than that, that's pretty much all I've been really listening to, other than the album you gave me.
Cool.
So
Very cool.
yeah, man. So what are you drinking this evening?
Well, let me tell you, and I'm about ready to get me a top off. Give me a second while I wet my whistle.
Oh, are we drinking the Kraken?
We are not drinking the Kraken.
Mm.
Today, ladies and gentlemen, we are drinking the Buffalo Trace, the single barrel select.
Nice.
This is a store pick. Mixing it with Coke because that's just what I like. Buffalo Trace, you can't go wrong with this.
No.
Just fantastic.
We go
and I only break it out. Oh, this is a 5. Like, I don't need to have it mixed with anything. I just prefer it right today.
Yeah, as a bourbon fan, I think it's a great pour. I think it's a great mixer. It is definitely undisputedly a 5.
Very versatile. Yeah.
I would tell you that if you were going to introduce anybody to bourbon and you want to introduce something really good right away, something they can really kind of latch into, that would be that bourbon.
And it's not going to break the bank.
No. Not until ignorance happens, because rumor has it they raised the price on everything across the board. I went and picked up. I had a bottle of Blanton's in my hand. They said $75. I said, what? What? $75? Come on now. Come on now.
No, good old Buffalo Trace. It runs me about $40. So $30-$40.
All right, and that's a 5 all day, Lamb.
All day.
5 banger all day. Cool.
Yes, sir. What about you?
I am drinking something I've never had before, so give me 1 second.
Oh.
I want to clear my whistle. Take a drink of water, make sure I get a good taste of it.
Oh, okay. Clear
Today
the palate.
we are drinking, I believe this is from our fellows over at Rheingeist, the Titanoboa. Titanoboa, a 9% Imperial India Pale Ale.
Okay.
Let's go ahead and hit this. We're first sip.
Two sip. Savoring.
Wow.
We're savoring.
Wow. All right. So when it comes to beers, it's no secret I love India Pale Ales. This is a amazing India Pale Ale. I am going to say really very hoppy. I love super hoppy India Pale Ales. This is a perfect example of a great pale ale. I do taste I believe a little bit of grapefruit. There's definitely some citrus there, but the hops are super killer. 9% alcohol by volume. This is a dangerous can. Please don't let me finish this before the show.
Hell, it might help us. Keep on. Come on.
With that being said, I'm actually going to give this thing a 5 banger all day too, man. This was amazing itself. Yeah, I hope to find more of these.
And that's by Rheingeist, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Titanoboa.
Titanoboa.
I believe that's how that's pronounced. We'll find out.
Close enough.
All right, man. Yeah.
Cool.
So, you want to tell us what's happened with the news today as far as what we should know about today's history and music or anything? Usually you're a guy on that, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's you kick off the news while I take a look at our friends over at Blabbermouth here real quick.
There you go. All right. Today is what, the 5th, December 5th. Celebrating a birthday. Little Richard was born today in 1932. J.J. Cale best known for They Call Me the Breeze, but he had a lot of other great songs. He was born in 1938, and blues legend Sonny Boy Williamson was born today in 1912. Three albums that were released on this day: Band on the Run by Paul McCartney and Wings, released in 1973. I did see that one of the founding members of Wings passed away today. Paul put out a pretty nice tribute for that gentleman, and I cannot remember his name to save my life. And then see, Bob Marley and the Wailers live album came out today in 1975. And I'm sure one of the personal favorites of yours, Black Flag's Damaged, was released today in 1981.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. So it sounds like on my end here, just looking at the friends over here at Blabbermouth, Limp Bizkit's got a 2024 North American tour coming, it looks like. Guar's got a 2024 North American tour coming, it looks like. Looks like Bon Jovi released a music video, Christmas Isn't Christmas. So you may want to check that if you're a Bon Jovi fan. And, I saw something else that had grabbed my attention. Amon Amarth is doing a tour next year in 2024 with Cannibal Corpse, Obituary, and Frozen Soul. That is probably something I'd really like to make. I think that'd be a great show. And one of the other things, I'd like to mention is I know that I had seen something in regards to, it looked like Geddy Lee and Alex Lifeson were discussing the possibility of pulling in another drummer. I don't know if they would perform as Rush, but they did make mention that they want to start making some music again, which I'm all for it. Come on, guys, let's hear it.
Yeah. And I, personally, I don't mind if they did call it Rush. I mean, they are, 2 out of 3,
Yeah.
I think that'd be cool. I'm not a huge Rush guy, but I respect the musicianship that they have. But
I am a huge Rush guy. I want to give you a Rush album sometime. That I don't know what your big take is on it, but 2112 is probably one of my favorite albums of all time.
I quit caring after Fly By Night.
Yeah, I can understand that. Well, the other thing I'd like to mention real quick, and this was just announced here recently, our Sonic Temple festival here in Columbus, Ohio, was it had announced the lineup for this year's lineup. So it looks like on Thursday night we got Disturbed, Evanescence, Mudvayne, Theory of a Dead Man, POD, Drowning Pool, Nita Strauss, Judas Priest, Kerry King's new project, The Ghost Inside, Nova Twins, Top Eye Houston, Bob Vylan, Tim Montana, Cypress Hill, Electric Callboy, Enter Shikari. I mean, there's a ton. Machine Heads on here, Miss May I, Fire from the God, Eminence, Sim. I mean, there's just so much on here. And then Friday, you got the original Misfits, Falling in Reverse, Seether, Anthrax, Dirty Honey, Nonpoint, Point North, Rise Against, Sum 41, Black Veil Brides, Movements, Terror, Scowl, Gel, Mr. Bungle, Code Orange. Like there is just
whoa, hold on, whoa. How do you go from the original Misfits, all them other heavy bands, and then Mr. Bungle?
Yep. Soulfly's on here. Lacuna Coil's on here. Gideon, Fuming Mouth. Then on Saturday, we got Pantera, Stain, Breaking Benjamin, Starset, Living Color. So this is probably one of the best lineups I have seen for this festival.
Yeah, man.
Sleep Token, In This Moment, Flyleaf with Lacey Sturm, Kitty, Destroy Boys, Calva Louise, Vuvoki, Polyphia, I think that is, The Amity, Affliction, Polaris, Corinth, Spite, Body Snatcher, Throne, Dying Wish, In Flames, Apocalyptica, Empire State Bastard, Catch Your Breath, Mike's Dead. Then you got on Sunday, Slipknot, Limp Bizkit, A Day to Remember, Royal Blood, Bad Religion, Saliva, Sleep Theory, 311, Architects, Wage War, of Mice and Men, Rain Wolf, Kim Dracula, Blind Channel, Clutch, Baroness, Helmet, Red Fang, Crowbot, Plush, Moon Fever, Tech Nine, L7, Return to Dust, All That Remains. While she's like, there's so many bands on this lineup. This is probably one of the best lineups I've seen for this festival in ages.
Yeah.
Ages.
Yep.
I mean, for me, in my music preference,
Mhm.
I would really consider this lineup, and I don't usually consider that Sonic Temple show.
Yeah. No, definitely some cool artists in there. So yeah, I'm kind of looking forward to seeing some of them guys for sure.
Yeah.
Also, Wolfgang Van Halen is coming to Bogarts next year.
In
With
Cincinnati?
Yep, and
Wow.
Nita Strauss is opening up for him on that.
That'd be a good show.
That's what I'm saying. And then Reverend Horton Heat just come out with a new album, and they're going on tour in 2024, and they're actually coming to Knoxville. First time I'm going to see them in Knoxville, so I love those guys.
I do too. I absolutely do. I don't know if they're coming through Columbus. Are they coming through Columbus?
I haven't seen it yet, but usually they do.
Usually they hit the Newport.
Yep. Yep.
If I told Katie Reverend Horton Heat was coming, she'd be likely to go.
Make it happen.
Yeah.
You know what else happened over the weekend?
I heard.
Yeah.
Heard.
Let's talk about this.
Let's go ahead and have that conversation while we wrap up this news.
So, my beloved favorite band of all time that this man over here got me into when we were just wee lads finally hung it up, finished the end of the road tour. They are no longer going out on tour. They are done. They finished a 2-night stint over at Madison Square Garden. The last show was a pay-per-view event that I broke down and bought stupidly, but the price was right. And I was like, you know what? Surely they'll put out something special. Surely something cool, some package, something. Nothing. It was the exact same show that they've been putting on for 15 years. Stage show's a little different. Exact same set list. Paul's vocals were absolutely trash. Trash. They weren't using backing tapes on this. It was just that bad. Uh-oh.
Well, we have an alert.
Yep. Do you got one too?
No.
Oh, child abduction. 2000 Honda Odyssey Silver. Bradley Price, 61-year-old male. Has a 10-year-old. So
that's not good.
No. So anyone in the Tennessee area, keep an eye out. 2000 Honda. Anyway, so the energy was there, musicianship wise. The energy was there. The stage show itself was great. Gene sounded really good. It was the same tired set list. There was nothing special. Paul sounded like shit. There was no real acknowledgement, no heartfelt, nothing. And at the end of it, they put out this horseshit where they've got avatars. So new Kiss avatars that they're going to put out on the road or something like that. You talk about pissed. Most of us Kiss fans are absolutely pissed on how this last night went and that this whole avatar bullshit is going down. There's still a lot to be discussed about it, but the avatars look like shit. Good premise, I guess, but no one's interested.
Have our friends over at the Kiss podcast over there, Love It I Love It Loud podcast or whatever.
Shout it out loudcast.
Shout it out loudcast. Mm-hmm. Have they talked about this yet?
No, so they actually went to both of the Madison Square Garden shows, both nights, and their new episode is going to drop on Saturday morning, and they're going to talk about it.
That'll be an interesting talk.
Yeah, so if you follow those guys at all on social media, they haven't like really tipped their hand how they're leaning, but you can kind of read between the lines. There's a lot of people pissed.
Yeah. I saw that whole Avatar thing and I went, what in the hell are they thinking? Listen, I want to say something in regards to all this, okay? I want to say something, okay? I am aware of the Tupac hologram.
Mm-hmm.
I am aware of the Ronnie J. Dio hologram. I will be honest with you. I like the idea of the hologram. I really do, especially in situations where someone has passed. They're not going to be around. You know what I mean? We can't, all we have is a vocal track, you know, from somewhere. And I'm okay with that. I'm absolutely okay with that. I'm not okay with the puppet. I'm not okay with the robot. I'm not okay with that.
It's not a robot.
The whole idea of the actual image of the individual in a hologram form doing a performance they may have done live before to that song, I'm 100% cool with. This, here we go. We're going to throw out our version of our Mighty Morphin Power Rangers and they're going to cover the fucking stage.
Yep.
You know, I'm not with it, dude. I'm not with it. I'm not with it. I don't like the idea of it. And I think it's still a money grab. And I think anybody that is willing to pay for this thing and see it live, if this is what they're going with, is out of their mind. Because then you're only feeding the ridiculousness, because you're never going to get that different show. Like you talked about, the set list is the same. You're going to get all the hits that they expect to give you. You're not going to get any of the deep cuts.
No.
You know, excuse me. You're not going to get any of the deep cuts. You're not going to hear certain things that you want to hear from Kiss if you're a Kiss fan. And their catalog is extensive, very, very extensive. By the time I was done collecting, I had 24 Kiss cassettes.
Mm-hmm.
By the time I was done collecting, I had 24 to 26 Kiss cassettes. And I can remember, you know, just shortly after high school, I got my eyes open to a lot of other shit, man. And I was just like, this ain't for me anymore.
Yeah.
You know, I outgrew it. And I'm not saying anybody that's still with it isn't grown out of it. It's just,
thanks, buddy.
It's just not.
It ain't your scene. I get it.
Do I turn it on every once in a while? Yes. Okay. It had a big impact on my life. At one point in time, I had all kinds of Kiss shit like you.
Mm-hmm.
But at the end of the day, like, the thing that destroyed Kiss for me is Kiss. All of the drama, all the dude, it's just it's just ridiculous, dude. It's just ridiculous. That's the thing that destroyed Van Halen for me, is the fucking drama, dude.
Yeah. Hold on. So on Blabbermouth, I'm 99% sure it's on Blabbermouth. Ace Frehley was quoted as saying something to the effect of, he's talking about the Kisses, finally done touring and stuff. And he's like, that's good because Kiss fans are stupid for following them. My fans are great. What an it. Shut up. Kiss fans are Ace fans. Stupid.
Dude, that's what I'm talking about, dude.
I know.
That's what I'm talking about, is the drama. It's just ridiculous, dude.
Uncle Ace drunk at the party again. Just saying stupid shit.
I don't know, dude. Recent video I've seen of him doesn't convince me that he's still got it. I don't give a fuck what you say.
He doesn't.
I have a real hard time believing that solo on that album was him. You can fight me on it. I don't matter.
It's not that good enough song to fucking fight over.
You know who is still playing his solo? You know who is still playing his solos?
Who?
This guy right here.
Who's that?
Slash.
Oh.
That's a Gibson Slash hat.
How about that?
I picked up down there in Nashville at the Gibson Garage.
That's pretty badass. Sweet.
Expensive hat. Not one of the
Sure it
finest,
was.
not one of the finest hats I've had made for that price, but hey, I call it like I see it, dude.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, I've owned a lot of fucking ball caps in my time because I've always liked wearing a ball cap, and fucking for what I paid for this hat, mm, I'd expect a little more quality.
Mm.
It should be a little more stiff. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm good.
All right, and ladies and gentlemen, that is that. I think with the whole Kiss thing and everywhere we're at on, that's the news. All right.
I still love them.
I know you do, dude. I know you do. Everybody has their thing.
Yep. All right. You ready to get to these album reviews?
But of course,
All right.
who's
All
up
right.
first this week?
You know what? I think you're up first this week.
I think you're pulling some shit.
All right. I don't remember. You want to go first? You want me to go first?
Hold on a second. I'm really trying to think
Oh God.
because I believe I went.
I
Okay,
believe.
you know what? You're right. I should go first.
Okay.
I think I am first. Okay. With that being said, this week Bruce gave me the Screaming Trees, Sweet Oblivion. This is a later release from these guys, and after listening to the album about partway through, I started, doing the Wikipedia dive on them and taking a look over there, and I was noticing that this album they lost their momentum. I think this album was dropped in like 96
92.
and 92, 90. Okay. So what happened was is during that time frame we had this big outbreak of grunge, and they were actually part of that whole grunge thing. I didn't know they were. And I wasn't really familiar with these guys, but I will say this: I like them. I really like the album. I thought this was a pretty good album. But I want to point a couple things out. Um, the Wikipedia page stated that this album was probably their most commercially successful album, but due to such a long delay between that album and their returning album, this slowed their momentum down, and maybe they didn't get as big as they could have been. So, but I'd imagine with writing pretty good stuff like this, they were probably pretty good, probably had a pretty good following. I remember seeing them coming around over here in Columbus a few times. I don't know whether I saw them at like the Newport or something like that.
Mhm.
But with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and give you what I did. I went down through the track listing as normal and I rated the tracks. Most of these tracks ended up with an A. Most of these tracks ended up with an A. It's a solid album. I mean, as far as that goes, Shadow of the Season. This is a great Shadow of the Season. Great opener. This was an A. Great way to start the album. Nearly Lost You. This was one of those ones that was kind of, okay, it's a good song, but it's okay. So I gave it a B. Dollar Bill. This is a deep song. This is a pretty emotional song. For what that title is, man, it's a little more emotional than just a dollar bill. It's actually a very deep song. So that was one of my standout tracks. More or less, there's a great riff on that track. So I really digged it, but it just didn't really do it for me. So I kind of gave it a B. Butterfly has a really nice solo on it, but once again, I gave it a B. For Celebrations Past, I gave this song an A. I did like this song. The Secret Kind, once again, it ended up with a B. Winter Song, I liked that song a lot. I want to say that might have even been a standout track. The Troubled Times, very bluesy. This was a standout track, and I
Yeah.
really, really, really liked that track. No One Knows. This was the only track that felt really short on this album for me. I don't know why, it just did. I ended up rating it like a C. Julie Paradise is what I want to say that is. This
Yeah.
was a standout track too, and a great, great, great closer. So overall, this is a great album, man. I remember saying this. There was great guitar work, great guitar solos. The album at time had a U2 feel.
Yeah.
Yeah, the album
Yeah.
at times had a U2 feel, and there were some really cool solos on this album. I really like whoever was doing the solos and whatever was being done on those solos, they really used some really cool effects for their guitar. And I'm an effects guy. I kind of like to hear that stuff. So listen to this album, man. This is a hell of a rocking album. It just disappoints me knowing that this was their most commercially successful album. So if I go back and I listen to some of those albums, they may not fucking compare to the magnitude of what this album was. So with this album getting the rating that I'm going to give it, I don't know that I really want to go back through the catalog. You know what I mean? If this was the best of the best, you know what I mean? So with that being said, I liked this album. I really, really, really did. And I would highly suggest this to anybody that was into some of the alternative grunge sound of the mid 90s, early 90s. But the one thing that really stands out about this is that there's a big U2 feel here, man. And I just remember going, wow, I don't think I've ever heard the idea of what U2 would be in grunge, but grunge is an alternative style of music, and U2 was an alternative style band. They had a lot of alternative style hits.
Yeah.
So with that being said, it kind of made sense. But, in most places, it's like finding something within a band that you go, I can really hear that kind of influence. Now, I don't know whether or not it had that influence or if these guys were really U2 fans or anything like that, but I will say this was a great album. And once again, I do want to, point out this is Screaming Trees, Sweet Oblivion.
Yeah.
I can't give this a horrible rating because, like, in all reality, most of these songs are an A or a B. There was a good handful of standout tracks. There was only one track that I, probably would skip over. I found myself really tapping my toe to this thing, and I'm going to give it an 8.75.
Beautiful. And and honestly, for anyone who really doesn't, hasn't been paying attention, Tony is not a grunge guy. Tony does not like grunge, anything really like that, minus a few things here and there, like Alice in Chains or something. So to have an album like this gets that good of a rating, that says something. So
yeah, I mean, like a lot of people would cite the whole grunge thing with Nirvana, and Nirvana just wasn't my favorite band. And I get a lot of flack for not liking the Doors or not liking Nirvana and stuff. And I listened to about a lot of bands that probably took a lot of influence from those guys, but they're just, like when it comes to like Nirvana was heavily influenced by the Melvins. Well, I just recently got turned on to the Melvins, and I really dig the fucking Melvins. But to me, just a lot of the Kurt Cobain stuff, just I didn't enjoy him as a vocalist. I didn't really find their music to be a lot of fun. You know what I mean?
yeah, no, yeah, they're not what you would call a fun band, a party band. So that's really cool.
And what you got to remember, man, when they come about, that they pretty much turn music on its head. We were in a phase of hair bands, power metal bands, thrash was starting to make its way through. And then all of a sudden, here we come with this big wave of Seattle style grunge. And it was just like, it was this drug induced, slow, sad thing, man. And it was just like, okay. And that's what it felt like to me, so coming from, the big hair, big guitar solos, people that could actually sing, people that could carry a note, so it was a big change. And I have some issues with a guy like Kurt Cobain putting music on its head, changing the forefront of music. Great, good job, but then whatever reason, he just takes himself off the earth, and it's like, dude, you accomplished a lot, and then you go back and you take a look at like a poor, we've lost a lot of these guys.
Mm-hmm.
Lane Staley's gone. You could say Stone Temple Pilots was kind of part of that movement, and
absolutely.
Scott Weiland's gone. You got the big one, Chris Cornell. He's gone. Soundgarden was great, and I loved Soundgarden. Don't get me wrong, but I also loved Alice in Chains.
Yep.
But it's just,
Yep.
It's sad, man. It's really sad.
Yep. So there's a really interesting connection between Screaming Trees, in particular, Mark Lanigan, who was the lead singer for Screaming Trees, and Nirvana. They're both from that Seattle area. Our friend of the show, Johnny, he was a roadie for the Screaming Trees, and he actually worked with Mark Lanigan at a warehouse before they were like an indie favorite back in the early 80s. They formed around 1984. So they were a huge local band, and they hadn't been signed yet. And so, he had worked with Mark during that time. And Mark said, come up to him, hey, we just got signed to this record deal, and we're getting ready to go on a, nationwide tour. You want to be a roadie? And Johnny was like, yeah, sure, I'll try it out. And he's like, okay, well, before I say yes or no, you're going to have to hang out with me. And they went to a party, and Mark would start a fight with anyone that he could come up to. He started a fight with to see how Johnny would react. He's like, that fucker always got me into something. And he's like, I always kept the peace. I was able to get it. And he was with them for 4 or 5 years. So it was really cool to get that little quick story about Mark Lanigan. Mark Lanigan, he ended up getting hooked on heroin, like a lot of those guys did. And Courtney Love actually helped get him clean.
Nice.
She paid for his rehab and paid for his rent and stuff while he was getting all fleshed out. So
that's nice.
Yeah. After Screaming Trees, Mark Lanigan did a lot of different things, including he was with Josh from Queen. He was in Queens of the Stone Age for a little bit. So,
yeah, I did read some of that.
Yep. So, really interesting guy. I didn't know a whole lot about them either, but I had heard Johnny was talking about being with them, so I just kind of did a dive, and I was like, okay, well, this is the first album that I started with. I was like, I really dig this album, so I went to the first album. The first 2 or 3 albums, they're really good, but they're not this. So when you said, man, I'm kind of afraid to hear what the other stuff is, it's more of like a, I don't know what category to put it in other than like kind of punky, kind of alternative, but it wasn't this grunge stuff. And it was really good. It's different. It's different than this. So really long story short, I became a Screaming Trees fan. I liked a lot of different eras of this band.
Good. I'll have to check more of it out. That's for sure.
Yep. So
8.75, man.
Beautiful.
I can't quite give it a 9 because it's just not something that is going to fall into my daily rotation.
Yeah.
So
yeah, this isn't going to be a daily rotation, but it's definitely something I was really interested in learning more about, listening to more, and yeah, I like that personal connection we have. So
yeah, that's awesome.
Cool.
Once again, Johnny's the guy that designed our logo for us. That one that you see in the back here.
Yes, sir. And all of our merch that's coming up.
Yep, all the merch coming.
We're working on that.
You want your T-shirts? Let us know. We need to know sizes. We'll do pre-orders on them.
That's right.
Yeah,
we'll do that.
Get your Hooked on Sonics T-shirts, and for all you ladies out there, we'll have those panties too.
I swear to God, if anyone orders Hooked on Sonics panties, fine. Hall of Fame fans right there. Anyone who orders Hooked on Sonic's panties.
Yeah.
Okay. Having said that,
if you order Hooked on Sonic's panties, Bruce will send you an album directly from his collection.
Yeah, that's right. As long as you're my wife. She'll say, keep the album and just leave me alone.
That's funny.
Oh, shoot. All right. Well, we are transitioning to another band that was formed back in 1984, and it was KMFDM. It was an industrial band based out of Germany. KMFDM stands for Kein Mehrheit für die Mehrheit, loosely translated as no pity for the majority. Yeah, I'd stick with KMFDM too. First off, before I get into my thing, why did you give me this album?
Honestly, because like I said last week, we go through phases, right? Where you and I, we're so obviously up there in our age, we've experienced a lot of music, and there are bands that we have listened to when we were younger, and maybe we lost touch with those bands. And at some point in time, you go, you know what? I'm gonna check back up on these guys and see what's been going on since. And this was one of those albums, man. And I just remember hearing it and going, God, man, these guys still have it under fucking lock and key. Like they have their sound. They also had a bit of, I believe they have a little bit of a political vibe too. But at the end of the day, yeah, at the end of the day, I think they write great stuff, man. I really think they do. And I believe the guitar player and the female singer are married. I believe so. I could be wrong on that.
Okay.
But dude, they really, like, when I tell you they're the masters of the ultra beat, they really are, dude. They write some good stuff. Like, I have yet to hear a KMFDM album that I couldn't just put in the car and just let that fucker spin. You know, they're a lot of fun. They're a lot of fun. They're cool to cruise around and listen to. They're cool to road trip to. They're just a cool fucking band, dude. And like I said, I don't listen to a lot of industrial, but you know, I listen to a lot of industrial style metal, a lot of industrial style things here and there. But, you know, as far as really doing a deep dive into industrial stuff outside of Nine Inch Nails and a few other things, like I'm not really versed. You know, my brother's probably a little more versed than I am. My brother Aaron,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, he's probably a little more versed than I am. I know he just went and seen My Life with the Thrill Kill Cult,
Mm-hmm.
and they're supposedly pretty good too. I remember them being on the Crow soundtrack, I believe it was. It was pretty good. So,
Okay. So I would if you're trying to figure out where they fit in that industrial electronic type feel, it's like Nine Inch Nails, but I don't think it's as heavy. Nine Inch Nails is a little heavier, a little darker. These guys are definitely more political. Definitely political.
But you know what? They also have a little bit more of a poppier vibe.
Yeah, for sure. You know, I think the lyrical content in this whole album was really important. This goes beyond, you know, political affiliations. It's about power in general, authority in general. Like, you give too much and they will take too much. And that's really the whole premise of this album is, you know, fight against some of this shit that, you know, that's going on. And, you know, a lot of the themes that's running through this album, one of the names of the tracks is Fake News, you know, Rip the System, Oppression, Total State Machine. It's all these things about, you know, control and, you know, narratives and shit like that, and fighting against that stuff with a damn good beat. It's hard not to like this album. Now, for me, I will say this: when I started listening to this thing, I take in the music a little differently than you. I'll actually listen to it a few different times because there are some days I'm not in the mood for certain shit, and this was one of them. Like when I first started listening to this album, I'm like, I'm just not into this. And it wasn't because it wasn't good, it's just I wasn't in that headspace. Um, but as the week kind of went on, I'm like, yeah, I need a little pick me up. This is a great driving album. This is a great, it's a thought provoking album if you listen to the lyrics as you're driving down the road and you're bebopping along and you're listening like, hey, fucking watch out for this. It's like, okay, yeah. So, and it doesn't matter which political affiliation you are or if you have no political affiliation. It's about fighting against control, period. Doesn't matter.
And
So
that's somewhat of a reoccurring theme with I believe certain KMFDM albums is like fight against the control. You're absolutely right. Like this you see it, why are you not doing it? You know what I mean?
Yep.
Kind of that whole vibe there.
Yep. This was their 19th album, and it was released August 18th, 2017. First track, Hell Yeah. Really cool opener. Not overly political on that one that I really picked up on. Freak Flag. Really cool. Female vocalist on that one. I can't pronounce her name, so sorry.
Lucia.
Yeah.
It's either Lucia or Lucia.
Yeah, Lucia Cifarelli.
Yeah.
Something like that.
She has an amazing voice.
Oh, yeah.
Dude, she's got an amazing voice.
Fantastic voice. Musicianship on this, vocals on this thing, production. It takes a special producer to really produce this kind of music well. And they really knocked it out of the park. There is this little trifecta thing: Oppression 1 of 2, Total State Machine, and Oppression 2 out of 2. It was this block of song there that was just fit perfectly together. And then Murder My Heart was fantastic. And then the other really standout track for me was Fake News. The album closed with Glam, Glitz, Guts, and Gore. That was really cool. That was a really cool 5-minute track. All in all, this album clocked in just under an hour, 51 minutes and 14 seconds. Again, if you're remotely into this kind of music, this electronica, industrial, political stuff, this is going to be right up your alley. You can definitely see that these guys were pioneers, and they're still doing it well. They're still doing it well. I can't give it a 10 because it's just not. I'm not gonna go through a whole bunch of this stuff. If it comes on, if you give me another album, sure. But I really enjoyed this album. I'm gonna give it a solid 8.2.
Okay.
And again, this is not something I'm going to listen to all the time.
Right.
But man, there's powerful message in this.
Yeah.
Powerful message in this album. And it's really good musicianship.
I'll probably have to give you another KMFDM album up the road. But like this album really stands out to me. It was just one of their albums that really kind of they really turn up the ultra beat in this album, in my opinion, and it's really, really a good album. To me, if I were going to rate this album, I'd give it a 9. I give it a 9. I love the album that much. I just think it's that good of an album.
Yeah.
And it does get semi-constant rotation. I love the female vocalist on this album. I love the guitar work on this album. I love like you said, the production on this album. It sounds so clean.
Yeah, very clean. Yeah, they're flawless production for sure. It's just, are you in the mood for this? Because it's not an everyday listen thing. If it is,
it's your thing. And
Yeah.
if it is, it's your thing.
Yeah.
I like that, but at the end of the day, there are people that love this genre of music, and if it is, it's their thing. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? You may be a bigger KMFDM fan than myself, and you may think this album isn't the greatest, but at the end of the day, this is Bruce's opinion. This is my opinion.
And
At
we're
the end,
right.
no, we're not right. We're not always right. This is just our opinion. But like I said, I think it is a phenomenal album. With that being said, we're going to get ready to move into these albums we need to give each other for next week so we can wrap up this show. But I want to say something before we do that.
Hmm.
It's no secret that by introducing you this album, we're taking you on a bit of an industrial journey, because I do enjoy some of that style of music and some of the spinoffs of some of that style of music. I was going to give you um, an album, and I'm going to leave it up to you whether or not you choose to listen to it. It's completely up to you. But it would be an introduction to this style of, they call it techno punk. There's industrial vibe here, but the band's name is Mindless Self-Indulgence. And they had an album that I was introduced to at a pretty young age, probably about 27. And I was turned on to that band, and the album was called Frankenstein Girls Would Seem Strangely Sexy. And it's a very fun album, but I want to say this. I understand that in 2021, lead singer Jimmy Urine was brought under accusation of grooming. And I'm not going to get into the bloody details of what I've read. You can do your due diligence and read up on it as yourself and form your own opinion. I don't believe he was ever convicted. However, until this thing, some kind of resolution comes from this thing, I don't know that I personally can support this band. It
Yeah.
upsets me, but until I know something for sure, I cannot comfortably support this band until further notice.
Yeah. Give me a different album.
Oh, well, we've discussed that. So, with that being said, moving forward, I'm going to keep you on the journey. I decided it's best to keep you on the journey. We're just going to go a different way. So your album for next week is going to be the second to the last album that C. Burton Bell, I believe it was, this lead singer, did before leaving Fear Factory. The name of the band is Fear Factory. The name of the album is Genexus. GENU GENEXUS.
Okay.
Genexus.
All right. And you, sir, I'm going to give you. So I stumbled upon these guys. I don't remember who I was listening to, and they popped up, and I seen this is the latest album of theirs. They're a band based out of Italy, and I've seen their album out in a few different places. I'm like, that's kind of interesting. But I actually sat down and listened to this album. I was like, holy shit, this is not my genre of music at all, but I'm totally digging this album. So I'm going to give it to you, sir. And it is Maneskin, MANESKIN. And the album is called Rush. And then in parentheses, Are You Coming? This is a fun little album.
All right. Maneskin, Rush, Are You Coming?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Sounds like a good time. With that being said, if you folks like what you see here, please like, comment below, hit that bell to hit that subscribe button, tune into us. We are on all of your favorite podcast streaming services. Keep that in mind. When you can't watch the show, you can always listen to us, whether you're sitting at work or working out or hanging from the side of a building. You can
ordering panties, whatever you're doing.
Remember, free album from Bruce, directly from his collection. You order those panties. All right. You order two, he'll send you a pair of his panties with the album. Hey, Bruce.
Anything for a buck.
Cheers.
Salute.
Have a good night, folks. We're hooked on Sonics. That's Bruce. I'm Tone. You got anything else before we go?
Nope.
See ya.
Good night, everyone.